this and other. So I'm here. My name's Julia Davis. I'm here in my guise of Yoga Teachers Forum with Richard Kravetz, who for a number of years now has been running our chair yoga training and our dementia training. So I'm just asking Richard here to let you know a little bit more about how the training will work on the 13th of March. It's a full day training on the 13th of March. It's live on Zoom. It'll be recorded if you can't make it live. There'll be support material. And now Richard's going to give you a little bit of a flavour of what that training might feel like to be part of. Over to you, Richard.
Right, thank you, Julia. Yes, chair yoga training. It's a full day's training. So I think the hours are 10 till 4. We will build in some breaks because it can be very tiring on Zoom. But the day will be all about chair yoga, really from a practical viewpoint, about all the yoga postures we love and know about doing yoga on the mat and standing, and all the different positions we are used to can be suitably adapted onto a chair, sitting on a chair, for people who have reduced or less mobility and can't make their way down onto a mat, or can't stand up, or can make their way down onto the mat but can't get up from the mat. So anyone who has reduced mobility, either due to illness, a condition, or simply old age, it makes yoga accessible to a much larger population. And a large part of the training will be just doing practical yoga stretches, positions, movements, sequences. So most of the mainstream yoga postures can be suitably adapted, and we will do many, maybe I wouldn't exaggerate by saying hundreds of different positions sitting on a chair. So there'll be a lot of practical work which we will do together as part of the training, and then you will be sent, or you will be given either a slide or a handout showing all those postures. So you won't have to write loads of notes. That will all be provided as part of the course, so we can just do the yoga together and experience it. And the beauty about yoga is that any one posture, stretch or position can normally be done in 3, 4, 5 or an infinite number of ways. So we can show how a standard posture, just like an arm stretch, if you like, can be adapted, and we can have various levels of intensity. So it can be adapted to a level and a range of movement that's comfortable for the population that we may be teaching, whether it is one-to-one or in a group class. And because this yoga is such accessible, it's drawing much larger numbers of people that maybe wouldn't do yoga normally because they said, well, it's not for me, I can't do that, I can't stand up, or I can't balance on one leg and blah, blah, blah. The beauty of this, and I do a lot of work in care homes with people with not just one condition, but multiple conditions, and they can move and they enjoy the sessions. So there is a large population that need things like chair yoga for their well-being, for their physical and mental well-being and mobility. That this really is part of our target population. And whilst a lot of people are doing it, a lot of people that aren't, and as yoga teachers, once you've done the training, it enables you to go out into the care homes, the residential homes and the day centres and offer what is a wonderful facility.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's lovely that you run this training, Richard, because for as long as I've known you, and that's a lot, probably as at least 18 years, and I know for many years previous to that, this is work that you've been doing, and so not only if people come to the training will they learn the practicals and actually physically do the work themselves, but it's really nice to know that when they come to a training with you, you've got an experience of so many different populations that have needed or used chair yoga, so that if you've got an idea, I'd really love to teach yoga in my local local GP surgery or the local care home, or actually there's a group that are younger people who are less mobile for whatever reason. What I love is that you've got that training of, teaching yoga to the special child, teaching third age yoga, teaching people with learning differences. So someone can come to you and say, Richard, actually, my vision is to teach this chair yoga in this place, and you'll be able to guide them as to, maybe if you've had an experience of the same thing. So maybe just this is a quick sort of explanation of what the workshop will be. But would you, in the workshop, be looking at different types of people or what their needs might be who are sitting in the chairs?
Okay, so yes, I mean, it's a vast subject, Julia, so we're just doing a snapshot. I would say about half the day we'll be just doing postures. We will be doing some standing postures using the chair to help people who can't balance themselves without having a prop. So holding onto the chair and maybe doing some standing as well. So there'll be a lot of practical stuff. And then we would be talking about also lesson planning for different populations, how to do a lesson plan, how long, how short, how you adapt the stretches because some people may be standing and some people may be sitting, so integrating different positions into the class. In terms of working with people with different conditions, because there's so many conditions, it's impossible to cover. You probably need more than 5 or 6 days to cover yoga for different conditions. So what I tend to do is give an overview, especially in looking with people with neurological conditions, which to a certain extent we can group together, and maybe people with sensory situations through hearing and seeing, and maybe age-related conditions like arthritis and dodgy hips, dodgy knees, and all the things that we kind of experience as we get older. We can talk quite generally on that. But what I do offer is leave sufficient time at the end of the day that if people say, well, actually, I've got a parent or someone and he's got MS or had a stroke, and then what would you recommend? I can deal with specific questions like that. And we normally do it by people, if things crop up, they just pop the questions in the chat room, or if they, and we save them to the end of the day, and then I just group all the questions together. And a lot of people's questions are what other people want to know about as well. So we have like a question and answer forum, at least half an hour at the end of the day to sweep up all of those. Because, so I'm trying to answer as many of those questions as I can at the end of the day. My knowledge is not infinite. It may be vast, but it's not infinite. I would hope to, and if I can't answer a certain question, I would always say, I'll get back to you on that, because it's such a vast area and subject. So it will be a general overview rather than being too specific, but I'm happy to ask specifics during the day or at the end of the day for people who have specific questions.
Yeah, and that's one of the joys about this training, and one of the things I love about trainings on Zoom is that you're there. So as you're going through the training with Richard, there are things that are likely to come up that you want to ask, so you'll be able to address those there and then it's recorded for you as well. So if you can't come live, it's recorded for you, but if you can come live, it's also recorded for you so that you can go back and revisit anything. And it's very kind of gracious of you to say you have got a vast level of experience, but we all get asked questions that we don't know the answers to. So I think it's fair enough for you to say, I do know many different situations where you might teach chair yoga, but there's always going to be a question from someone, or there might be a question from someone that you don't know the answer to. And I think that is completely fair enough. So if what you're looking for is a really kind of broad sweep of where and how chair yoga can be used practically, so you can feel it in your own body, then this is the training for you. If you're really wanting to kind of drill down into real specifics, Richard at the end of the year is running his dementia yoga training again, and Charlotte runs the Parkinson's training, and all of those we've the Yoga Teachers Forum, we have kind of charities that we like to support, and the charity that we like to support that is has a close connection to Richard. It's Dementia Club UK, and the one for Parkinson's, I think that's Parkinson's Club UK as well. They're really small charities, these charities, and what I love about the fact that we support these really small charities is that there isn't a massive infrastructure, and you can almost see exactly where the money goes. And it's my intention, we've already had a couple of articles about charities that we've supported, but what we'd love to see happening is in our yoga magazine, which you can find on the free stuff page of the Yoga Teachers Forum and is sent out with our newsletter. You'll be able to find out more about the charities that are connected to some of the events that we run. So over to you, Richard. Do you want to remind everyone about the date and time and that sort of thing for the training?
Yes. So the date is Sunday the 13th of March. 10 till 4. We'll build in breaks. We'll also have a lunch break and just a mid-morning, mid-afternoon break. They'll be fairly short, so we can get as much information over to you during the day. And all I can say is I've been teaching chair yoga for over 20 years. I don't necessarily do it for the money. I do it because I enjoy not only teaching it, but seeing the benefits that accrue to a vast number of people, and their enjoyment, and it kind of is my enjoyment. And I would say if it's something that you're thinking of stepping into, I would encourage you to do the training and get involved with chair yoga, because it's very therapeutic in a two-way kind of way, that people will feel the benefits of what you're teaching, and it will resonate largely with you as well. Which is why I've been doing this for 20 years, because I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. So I love chair yoga, and I think it's got a wonderful future.
Yeah, I totally agree. And you know, if I was immobile enough to need chair yoga, I'd want to be coming to your classes. So what I'm hoping is that in, you know, maybe 50 years time, when I'm 98 and I really need to do chair yoga, there is going to be somebody who has done your training. I'm sure I could do it from, do myself. I've been to enough of your trainings, but sometimes you just want to go to classes. I know there are plenty of yoga teachers that are later on in their years that come to your chair yoga class, and I would love to imagine that there'll be teachers in future who've been inspired by your teaching, so that we've all got the opportunity to have people like you, and the enthusiasm and joy with which you share your practice. I think that's something that's important to let people know as well. When you come to the training day, you'll laugh. I'd be amazed if you don't laugh and have a giggle and enjoy yourself, and that's certainly something you bring to your classes as well. So thank you, those of you who've managed to join us for this impromptu conversation. And you can book onto Richard's training by looking at yogateachersforum.org. And the training is on the 13th of March. So it's actually on the home page, it's on the courses page, and we'll share a link to it in the kind of comment section below on Facebook. So thank you. I'm going to unlive us from Facebook, and I'm going to stop the recording.
Right.